My name's Isaac, this is Luce Disc Golf. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go over my top 5 reasons you should be throwing more putters off the tee. Let's get started with number 1. I should say these are in no particular order, but number 5 is definitely my favorite and I think the most fun. Alright, so let's get the big obvious one out the way. Overstable discs hide your form mistakes. The most common way to hide this is wobble. When it comes out with an unclean release and just flopping all over the place, putter's not going to really correct that, whereas this driver's going to fix it quick and then get to its desired flight path. We've got the basket down there, just a little under 200 feet, not a big chuck. So the glitch you're going to see when I throw it and it gets some wobble, it's going to roll almost all the way over to a roller and then head down the hill. We don't want that. We want to smooth these out here, but I'm going to throw it bad real quick just to show you. So if I just try to huck this glitch, wobble, see it fall? We don't want that. If we learn to smooth out our putters, got a berg here, and just kind of pop them with some finesse, we can get a desired flight path. That still had a little bit of wobble, so I got a little turn on us, flew a bit straight, but you can see how it's a lot more desirable. But if we throw those high speeds, I got a DD3 here, way too short of a hole for a DD3, but let me show you what happens when it gets thrown with some wobble. Wobble, 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 and then instantly starts fading out into its intended flight path. Now, I'm not saying you should always be throwing putters, especially if you don't have a good putter forehand. If you've got that wobble and you're in a tournament, you're playing dubs with your friends, you really want to win, it's not the time to be breaking out the putter forehand. That's not a competitive shot. You don't want to be doing this in the middle of a round. So see, our DD3 faded way out. I'm in C2, whereas our putter was up in C1. Much easier putt. We'll still try to nail this from back here. But I don't know about you. I'd much rather have that guy than this. It's much easier to finesse something down that little hallway than to chuck this and try to get it to land soft, because all it wants to do is wobble, wobble, and then go to its intended flight, which is, with a high-speed disc, is generally going to mean fade hard and get to the side quick. So with that being said, it sounds like I almost just gave you a reason to throw high-speed drivers instead of putters, because who wants that wobbly throw, right? But the point being is, if you're throwing these guys, you're not getting any real feedback on the throw. It hardly wobbles, and then it quickly just fights out of it. Whereas if I try to smooth one of these guys, we'll do the atom. If I try to smooth a putter out there, you're gonna see the wobble and you're gonna get that instant feedback, so you can try to learn on what you're doing and try to slow down and smooth it out. Right into the ground, but still it was smooth. And that's the point we're trying to talk about today, is that when you smooth a disc out, not only are you going to get a better flight out of it, look how just dead flat that was. You're going to start getting better at disc golf in general. Because, and here's the glitch that I really can't throw forehand, but if I just focus on smoothie, hey, I can at least make it fly. But it's that instant feedback. That glitch right there, that last shot that just kind of turned out to the left, it had a little bit of wobble. It told me that I was probably had some off-axis torque, which off-axis torque means while I'm trying to throw the disc on a flat plane like this, I'm applying a little bit of pressure this way, causing it to wobble out of my hand. Just to punch it home, that's what I'm saying the Firebird hides. The high-speed drivers hide, is that wobble that teaches you that you're not quite getting a clean release. And if you don't know you're getting a clean release, you're never gonna fix it. And while I may be sounding a little bit redundant here, I do really wanna stress that I'm not telling you guys to go and start throwing putters just always. Use this as a training opportunity. Playing casual rounds, not really scoring them, take out the putters, throw extra shots, see that feedback and work on it. You're only gonna get better. You know, for a video about putters, I left all my daggers at home and these just feel weird in the hand. Nonetheless, if you've heard any of these tips before, make sure you leave a like. And if you haven't heard any of these tips before, I want to see a subscription. If I'm giving you fresh content, if I'm giving you fresh info, make sure you're subscribing for more. Now, I think that kind of leads me right into my next point. So let's go ahead and start point number 2. Putters don't need to be thrown hard to see their intended flight paths and in turn teach you a bunch of different shot shapes, again, making you better at disc golf fast. But not only does this make you better at disc golf, this is actually going to raise your overall skill ceiling, allowing you to get even better than you thought you could. So to start off, we have about 230 feet straight down this gap. There's a big tree in the middle you can go to the left of with a kind of a turnover. You can go straight at it, or you can hyzer out to the right side and fall at it. I got 3 discs with me, one that's a little bit flippy, which means it's going to flip up and kind of turn. I've got one that's pretty straight, which means it's going to kind of just hold that line that I put it on. And then I've got one that's a little bit stable, whereas I throw it out, it's going to try to fade out to the left. Not really flip over, just fade down. We'll go ahead and start off with a stable one and see how it goes. But the point being is that I don't need to throw this hard. We're going to throw it to the right side of that sign and just let it fall left. Give it a little bit of height, give it some time. Kind of missed my line a little bit, but that was safe. Got a little bit down there, we're on the left-hand side. Nice and easy flight, didn't have to throw it hard. We're gonna go to the opposite side of the spectrum. We're gonna go with my flippy one next. We're gonna put it on the left-hand side and watch it come right. We'll redo that one. Okay, so that one's kind of turning over to the right-hand side. We missed the gap, We got all the way down there. And that leaves me with the atom here. This is gonna be my last one. I'm gonna try to just drill it right down the middle. We shouldn't get any turn left or right at all. Straight like an arrow, right underneath the basket. None of those had to be thrown hard, and I got 3 completely different flight paths out of them. Whereas if you're throwing high speed, forgot to throw the high speed example. If we throw high speed, now the difference is I have to choose the angle that I release it on to get the different flight paths, whereas the other ones is just throw it and they fly different. So let me show you that. Here I'm gonna have to lean way back to get this to go anywhere near straight. Thankfully, we executed it really well. You notice we had to kind of finesse it through everything. That leaves a large margin of error that we really don't want to mess with, that the putters took away. See if we can do it 2 in a row. Lean way back. There we go. And that's going to fly straight down there. That's a great shot. That's fantastic. If you have that, do it all day. I'm just telling you, that's not the best way to improve. Being able to see the different flights out of discs gives you a way bigger arsenal. And if you have a bigger arsenal, you're gonna be able to attack more holes. If you can attack more holes, you're gonna score better. I've brought you over to hole 18 here. It's one of my favorite holes to just take a little overstable putter, put it out right and have it come back. It's only 250 feet up in those trees. And this hole is perfect for the third tip. And that's that your misses are a lot safer when throwing a putter versus a high-speed driver. So let's say I go to take my shot, I put it up to the right-hand side, but I early release, I put it about middle. I'm gonna go careening left side, OB, if I throw a driver, whereas my putter, I miss it and I go left. As you can see, I'm still just gonna settle onto the left-hand side. I'm still putting at that point, but let's say I misrelease a driver. That's gonna get a lot more left action. Well, we hit the tree, but that was screaming OB. There's no way that was gonna stay in. I'm gonna early release it, so we're gonna come way left. And you see with a Firebird, it's gonna get way out into the OB, which is why I'm saying that if you throw putters, it's a lot safer. So if we just throw a putter and we make that same mistake on purpose, it's not gonna go left like that. Oh, go in. Oh. Okay, almost aced. We like that. Okay, so that first Firebird kind of hit the tree and just dropped. Super lucky, but it was definitely heading out left. We threw that second one just to kind of show you what would have happened if it didn't hit. Meanwhile, we have the Sky God, which was that first putter shot. Totally misreleased. We put it straight at the basket, fading at OB, but we're still right here in C1 for the easy birdie. So that's the first 3 tips for you right there. Now this fourth one I think might be the actual most important of the 4, even though number 5 is really my favorite. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and get ourselves into some danger, because what you've been learning by throwing putters this whole time is how to scramble efficiently. So we're gonna go ahead and throw the Firebird, get ourselves into some of this danger on the right-hand side, and I'll show you how to get out of it. Here's a hint. It's to throw your putters knowing the different flight paths that you just learned in the previous tip. So we're gonna get over and right into the danger. Let's just throw it in there. Oh, I really hope that didn't get deep in there. This is gonna be rough, but that's the point. So you threw your Firebird, you got behind this because you didn't listen to the earlier tips, and now we've got a couple hundred feet up to the tee, and all we have to do is throw one of our tee shots. I've got the MVP spin here. To me, it's a little bit flippy, which means when I throw it, it's gonna try to kind of roll over on me, but that's a good thing. We're not doing it with wobble, we're doing it with its intended flight path. So all I need to do is hit this gap. I know it's gonna turn right for me, it's gonna get up to that basket. Let's see if we can execute. We're gonna go a little patent pending, because this is a scramble shot, so it might not be as comfortable as your tee shots with your run-up, but the flight path is what we care about. We misreleased, so we can try that again. Thankfully, that's the nice part about practicing. We're gonna go ahead and try the proxy. I know it's a little bit more stable than that spin, which is not gonna flip up as much, but same idea. We just get it through this gap a little bit wider. Maybe change my stance out a little bit more. I was cooked a little bit into here. We're gonna widen out a little bit. And then, again, let's just hit this gap. And there we go. Scoot right up for me, we've got a putt. Now, let's try to get out of this with the Firebird. For this shot, if I hit it flat, it's going left hard. So the goal is to go really anhyzer, but I'm gonna show you what happens when you miss slightly. I'm gonna bring it off that anhyzer, just a kind of a baby anhyzer. Anhyzer means when you're leaning back with it, really. On the back end, you're kind of leaning back with the disc and coming over it. Get a little kind of like miss-angle release, which with drivers, like I said, very important you don't do. Let's see what the result is. I didn't like that example a lot. Let's try to do it again with the DD3. Give it a little more height so you can really see time of it flying. There we go. We got it up there. I mean, that was kind of beautiful. I hit the angle. Well, so there goes to show. If you hit the angle, it's going to be fine. That Firebird, if I had given that height, it was way left. Let's see if we can do one that goes way left. We're going to give it a little height, try to get it out there. If I put it on Annie, we'll get all the way to the basket. If I hit it flat, I bet you we're going into the woods. I'm going to really reach out here and get around this bush. It's pretty difficult. This is a common spot where you're gonna miss by leaning forward too much and not hit your angle. Oh yeah, didn't hit the angle at all. Got way left. That's horrible. But that's the miss you don't want to make right there. Geez, that DD3 got way back here. So talk about missing your angle the other way. I put this one on too much anhyzer. I pulled over too much on it, and it flew way too far because it's way too fast of a disc for the shot. And once you get it on that angle, it's gonna push for a while. Meanwhile, we have our Firebird right up here in the middle of these trees, which, don't get me wrong, the proxy's right here too, but I got lucky. I misreleased that and threw it off to the side, and it faded back onto the far side. So I hit it all the way over here and it faded all the way across to there. If I had misreleased that and got on the left-hand side, I'm gonna be deep in those woods. Whereas the proxy, we hit our intended angle, but we missed our line and came left. But because of that, we're still just right up here, and this is the putt for bird. I didn't make it, but we got the putt. And it's really for par too, because I just forgot that that was an upshot. My fifth and final reason that I love throwing putters off the tee is it's just fun to throw putters when everyone else is throwing drivers. I know. Talk about my ego all you want in the comments. It's definitely one of my lesser qualities. But I will say, I like showing off the work I've put in, and being able to throw a putter as hard as I can throw a driver and still see a nice smooth flight out of it. It's something I'm really proud of. And I'm glad to say I can't be the only one. So if you found this video helpful or maybe at least a little entertaining, consider leaving a like, maybe a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. But until then, stay loose out there, guys. Oh, go in for me. That would just be perfect. Get lucky. That's a putt. I think we got that. Oh yeah. Love ending it with a birdie.